Oh my god. When was the last time I've done any of this? Hold up. Before. What was the last thing I posted? 1 month ago. Okay, so the fourth and Soul War didn't exactly work out, but the first thing I need to say is the series hasn't been building itself off more than I wanted it to. Now, the reason why I say this is simple. I just haven't had the time since college came around to completely do anything. I am really sad it has come to that, but today I can give you guys another video. And I'm going to tell y'all what it's going to be about. It's going to be faction fights. This time I'm going to do it a little differently. Because unlike the other ones I've done, they're hypothetical. We've actually seen what the Battle LA aliens have done and can do. So, what about the Landsharks? What are the Landsharks? Doing research, they come from a distant world where there are multiple species fighting for control of the planet. And they are one of the ones that got booted out as imposters and immediately landed on Earth. Because Earth, in the movie, says it is the only place with liquid water is malleable. So that means not only is it there, but it's going to stay there for some time. So obviously, they have a reason to attack, sort of. So, what do we see happen when the aliens attack? Well, they attack 27 cities with they say, around 27 to 28 million personnel. That's not enough to attack a whole planet and kill a whole population. That is not enough. That's not enough. If you could clearly see how easy it was for one Marine to kill two of those aliens, I don't. Okay, then. I don't know what the fuck just happened. I don't know what happened. I'm just going to go from there. But today, we're going to be discussing what will happen if the Landsharks tried to attack the United Planets universe. Keep in mind, they're going to be attacking the United Planets in general. They're not going to be attacking anyone else but the United Planets. The United Planets is going to have a few things. It's going to have its Iron Shield, it's going to have all its ships in orbit, and it's going to have all of its personnel on planet. Because if you've read the lore, there's over 2.7 million personnel sent across the galaxy. So that means all of their men have to come back, along with all of their resources, and everything has to come back for the fight of the century, in the sense. And the Landsharks going to have the same thing they did when they invaded LA. So what's going to happen? I can give you a step-by-step process on what would happen, possibly. Then I'm going to give you the most realistic scenario. So I'm going to give you a scenario that puts the Landsharks at a more of an advantage than the United Planets. They're going to get the element of surprise, meaning as none of the equipment the United Planets has, none of all that is going to detect them until they're on the planet. That's when they'll be able to detect the ships in orbit or far away from the planet. So, with that in mind, first thing that needs to be noted is their forces would be scattered and the United Planets forces would completely notice that ships are falling from the fucking sky. That's not normal. And that's the one thing I hate about that movie of Battle LA is that they just watched as the ships from God knows where just come crashing down into the planet. Like that's normal. That's not normal. That's not normal. It's not fucking normal. It's not. The first thing that would be noticed is that aircraft like supernova jets and bombers would be immediately dispatched. They want to make sure that whatever landed was not a potential invasion. Turns out they'll eventually find out it is an invasion that the Landsharks are going to try to take. They're going to try to take their chances. Well, their chances will run dry this time. Because unlike the humans on Earth, the humans in the United Planets are a little different. They're a lot more smarter, they've got more resources, and their technology is thousands of years more advanced. The land sharks would realize very soon this would not end too well. This would not end well. The basis of why I'm saying this is the United Planets just has more of everything, can build more of everything, and has the power to physically hold that attack and push it back. There's nothing that the land sharks can do in this situation except for two things. Number one is surrender and hope to God that they treat them with respect, otherwise, they're basically fucked. Number two, the one that's probably the more realistic, is continue fighting until there's none of them left. That's going to be really hard for them to do. Two reasons. They need communication and they need squad leaders. They need leaders and commanders to move forces around. But once those commanders are taken out, there's nothing that those grunts will be able to do except for fight and try to survive. That's all they're going to do. But when you only have 20 million personnel, this will not end too well. This is like, how do I say this? This would be the Germans invading the Soviet Union when the Soviets had their maximum army ready. That's basically how bad it would end for the Germans. It's just, there's just no way I see the land sharks just waltzing right in and then staying there for more than 2 months. They would get constantly beaten and beaten and beaten. There would be no way for them to make any decisive movement if they continue and they have to continue moving in their forces, or they'd get carpet bombed, or they'd get smart bombed, or they get shot with missiles. There's nothing they could do, and their weapons are just not as good. Think about it real quick. The main armament on a fighter, a supernova fighter, generally is a 30 millimeter cannon, an autocannon. That's a pretty powerful weapon. That's very powerful. That cannon is generally made for dogfights in space. But that cannon can also be the most powerful thing a normal fighter will use against ground forces. But it has to slow down less than Mach 3 in order to use it. But generally, the speed in which it's going to use it is between Mach 1 and 2. So this fighter is not going to go too fast so that it doesn't hurt itself trying to shoot it. But the fighter can go up to Mach 10. So their fighters aren't going to get near it. Their fighters won't be able to do jack shit. They've done calculations. Their fighters go Mach 6 at best. So that means most of the United Planets aircraft would be pretty much untouched. There'd be no way for them to hurt United Planets aircraft. Their air power is virtually weak and useless because all it takes is one well-placed shot in a command center and everything's done. The way the United Planets military is situated is if the command is destroyed, there is still local fighting. There can still be local leaders capable of leading their troops and personnel into battle and coming out alive. That's the main point. And I think that alone is going to save the United Planets' ass multiple times. It's kind of what saved the Earth multiple times too in that movie. Because with local leaders being able to pinpoint and put certain troops in places that they needed to go without major command, you see how effective their forces were? They did a lot of damage to the alien forces. Just a handful of guys and a few women, just a handful of soldiers, did immense damage to the alien race. If apes with sticks that are outdated in their terms, imagine if a human race just suddenly had good technology. They wouldn't last 10 seconds. Their fighters would get shot out of the sky almost immediately, and everything of what they just found out would turn against them instantly. Now let's talk about ground forces. You guys have probably already seen the infantry armor and a handful of the new equipment that the United Planet soldiers will use. If they're fighting paramilitary, they're going to get rushed very quickly. Not paramilitary. Uh, not paramilitary. What's that? It's Marines and what's the other one? I can't remember the other one, but it's like Special Forces and Marines. There we go. Special Forces and Marines will carry jetpacks or these kind of jetpack looking things. So when they drop in front of a planet, they can use these things to slow their approach down to the planet's surface. This is going to be a very important resource in this conflict. Another thing that's going to be very important is the Eagle. The Eagle attack aircraft is going to be the most important thing here because without that, I don't think the United Planets could really push them as hard as they really can because Eagle attack aircraft are vital for their armed forces. Sure, they could use their Cobra tanks and manage to push them away from major cities, but they won't be able to completely annihilate their forces if they don't have Eagle attack aircraft. Supernovas, the bombers, on the other hand, could also play that role that the Eagle plays itself. Think about it. You store almost 1,000,000 pounds of ammunition, hydrogen powered fuel cells, and now you have this giant bomber that is ready to strike at anywhere to any time. And considering how fast it can go, that's terrifying. Mach 8. Mach 8. You heard that right. Mach fucking 8. That bomber is so fast, nothing on Earth will hit it. There is a good reason why their military is just getting better and better is because of the constant wars they fight. And now that they're fighting something that they actually know how to fight, somewhat, to an extent, it just means they're going to have an easier time against the Landsharks than the Landsharks will against the United Planets. And the average infantry between the two, normal grunts stand at 8 feet tall for the Landsharks. For the United Planets soldier, it's about 5'8". So it's not too bad. So for the United Planets soldier, they're just under 2 feet shorter. But obviously, when you have a sergeant major that's 6'5" and well over 300 pounds, yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of one of the newer characters. Yeah, he's 6'5" now. But that is one of the biggest reasons why I think this is going to be a really good thing. Is that the Landsharks are so big, they could be seen almost anywhere. This is going to be a major, major, major problem. Is resources and supplies. How will the Landsharks get supplies down to the planet's surface if they don't have air superiority? This is going to be the deciding factor of almost anything, of how well they're beaten. And the second thing I think would be what's going to happen afterwards. What's the plan of the Landsharks? The plan of the Landsharks is to colonize. They're going to try to wipe out everybody. Problem is, unlike the United States in that movie, a lot of citizens should have been grabbing their damn guns, but the problem is they did it in fucking California. This is why we need guns, California. That is exactly the fucking reason why. The last thing you expect, and you have nothing to protect yourself with. I'm pretty sure Dallas, they said Dallas was invaded in the movie. I'm pretty sure Dallas fought off the damn aliens quicker than that. I'm just stating facts. This is why we need guns, California. Why We need guns. After the United Planets, people would get together and create rebel/militia groups. They would completely harass and destroy tiny infractions of the invasion force. This would mean that they would have to divert more forces towards the people. So this is eventually going to turn into a Vietnam, where it eventually ends in the Landsharks' defeat because they can't keep up with the United Planets military and militias. And considering their military actually has more training, it's like imagine the Taliban and the Viet Cong mixed together. And now that force was fighting the Americans. How lovely. That's basically what it is. The size of the Viet Cong, but the strength and the tenacity of the Taliban. That's terrifying. That is terrifying. So here's one thing I gotta say. My final verdict is you already know about my final fucking verdict. I think you guys already know that this is gonna be in the long term, you know who's gonna win. The short term, I don't think they have a chance at winning either. Because you're invading a planet with more soldiers than you. You're invading a planet that has had more skill, more experience than you. Because they've been fighting for thousands of years between other countries and all of this. They know how to fight. These aliens do not. And I think this is where it's going to be the most important. This is going to be the most important thing I speak of today. The reason why the Landsharks would not win comes down to a single thing. Can y'all guess what it is? I'll give you the hint. Air power. The main reason why the Landshark invasion would fail is due to the fast airplanes and the aircraft that the United Planets owns. Due to its Mach 3, it can go up to Mach 3. The Eagle attack aircraft is another thing that would be a terrifying addition. The bomber and the supernova. Those two will decide whether the Landsharks get to keep a certain holding or they'll lose somewhere. Now, I do want to make this absolutely clear. This may not be true every single time. There may be some times where the Landsharks may get a little lucky and they may somehow manage to pull off something that they wouldn't have been able to pull off otherwise. As we've seen, people and things can get very lucky and people can get unlucky. So it is not wrong to assume that they can invade, they can land forces, and they can take over major cities, but it would be so costly to them that it would be worthless. There's no reason to take it over. Just kill everyone on the planet, wipe out the inhabitants, and just settle. There's no reason to just simply wipe out all near 18 billion people and then say, oh, I just realized this planet doesn't have this. So you killed that race for absolutely nothing. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But I've already showed you my verdict. This was kind of a way to reintroduce the channel back to what it used to be. There's no way I can keep this up forever. It's only a matter of time before I can't do this anymore because of college, and wife's just going to take me by the heels, take me by the knee and just push me forward, and it won't care where it sends me. So that's all I'm really going to have to say about that. But please, for the love of God, if you do want to see more of the Blood and Steel series, or if you want me to make a crossover event with another series, like I've already done one with Gate, but I am more than willing to do more than just Gate. I can do SCP, I could do all the other ones, but just bring one character of your choice. Not my choice, your choice. But you have to tell me what you want. Can't just expect me to know what you want. There's a couple people that did that. Tell me in the comments what you want me to do for the next parts and series on Wattpad. I do want to point this out and make this clear though. I may not make another video for another month or two. This is mainly because I may not have time to. And obviously I've got a lot of things. I've already told you guys I've got a lot of things to do. Chances are the next Faction Fights video will come out in a month or two. Maybe longer, maybe shorter. I can't give you a 100% answer because there's just no way to tell. But I kind of made this video to lean myself back into the pace because I want to create more Wattpad stories. Eventually, I want to create more, but I don't want to do it when I have so much work to do. You know what I mean? I don't want to do it when I have classes I need to take care of. But once I create these stories and completely change how the story works, I could possibly make a brand new story. Make something brand new out of it, completely change how it works. But as of right now, there's really nothing I could do. If my job needs me to do something, I have to go and do it. Because really, I can't argue against it. But I can tell you this. If something did manage to make it so that I can't make another video again, I would most likely tell you. I'd most likely tell you about it. That's kind of all I've got to say. It's not much else. I need to take note. Don't gotta say nothing else. Don't gotta do zip zap zippity bop. None of that. So I'm gonna end it here. If you guys really do want to see more of the series of Blood and Steel, or maybe a crossover event between my story and another, maybe you want me to work with a specific Wattpad user and create a story with them. If that's the case, then you won't be getting just one story. You'll also be getting possibly a collage of stuff of what we've been planning. So, want me to do something? Put it in the comments. But for now, I'll see you guys later, and I hope I get to see you guys again soon enough. Take care.